I got into Boston University, University of Michigan, UIUC, Spelman College, Howard University, and here's what I think worked and what I wish I knew sooner. There is no set formula to getting into colleges. I think something that definitely worked for me is building your story. I started building my story from the time I was in 7th grade. I knew that I was very passionate about film, so even if I wasn't doing something that was film related, for example, when I was a part of a medical program, I made sure that my capstone project incorporated film in it. So definitely being consistent in your activities, your courses, and all of that. There is no such thing as the perfect applicant. You don't need a perfect score on the ACT. You don't need a 5 on every single AP exam. You don't need to have a 6.0, 4.0 GPA. Like, perfection is just not possible. People go through things in life. I think it's important to not put all of that pressure onto yourself, because the great thing about college applications is it is such a holistic thing. Colleges are going to look at your transcripts, but you also get to write supplemental essays. Your counselor will be able to talk to, how good of a student you are. Your teachers will be able to talk about how you are in their classes. So you don't need to worry so much about perfection. However, I will not sit here and say that test scores mean nothing. Like, if possible, if you do have the resources, I would definitely take the ACT or SAT multiple times. I would definitely invest in a book. Take it upon yourself to maybe watch videos or see if your school has any resources. Go to the library if that is a possibility for you. If you're already past that point, there's no need to stress about it, because your test scores, your GPA is not everything. It's a part of it, but it is not everything. There's no set way to do things. I think you need to lean into activities that showcase who you are as an individual. For example, I am really into film, so I started my school's Black Media Club, and my whole, mission goal with that was to get students at my school to understand different pathways for them to be able to get into it themselves. I saw a gap, and I was able to implement a program that would help bridge that gap. So I think that's very important. You can't follow somebody else's path. If there's something that you're passionate about and you feel like would be a good addition to your school community or your outside community, you should definitely start it up. However, if there's something that already exists, you can join that and work your way up. The whole point of college applications is not to be performative. It's a way for them to understand who you are as a person, who you are as an individual, and you should do things that speak to who you are as a person, because it's going to come off as so much more authentic. Additionally, I will say that service hours, community impact, that is a huge thing. Not even just for college applications, but it's something that you should be doing anyways. You should always be giving back to your community and helping people who are less fortunate than you. Some great ways to do that. You don't even need to be a part of NHS. You could just volunteer at a soup kitchen. You could volunteer at a hospital. You could volunteer at a library. It helps you as an applicant, but also helps you as an individual. Okay, so going back to my previous point, you need to build a story and not a resume. So I'm gonna kind of talk about some of the things that I did and explain how it all tied in together. So I already touched on the fact that I was the founder and president of Black Media Club. Additionally, I started doing content creation, so I was able to kind of touch on that in my personal statement. I also took courses that related to what I wanted to do. So I took film courses throughout the duration of my high school. I started in 7th grade because my high school actually had a 7th and 8th grade program. So I started attending my high school in 7th grade, and that's when I took my first film class, and I was able to continue that throughout the courses of the year. I also created my own films. I had roles as a writer, as a director, all the things that tied into what I would actually be doing in my major. So it could show colleges that I already had background experience, and I wouldn't be coming in starting from ground zero. I would have a little bit of a baseline. And I think something that definitely stood out in my application was the fact that I interned with a professional screenwriter. That's not something that a lot of people are able to say when they apply to film school, but I was able to spend the entirety of my senior year working under and learning from someone who was actually in the industry. It's very important for you to have prior experience, because I was able to explain what I had already done. And so being able to show colleges that I was already making steps into advancing in my career that set me apart from other applicants. And then adding on to that, I also had a documentary film that advanced to nationals for History Fair. So if you're able to join competitions that are related to your career field or future major, definitely do that, so it shows colleges that you're being recognized for the things that you're doing. And then I was also able to take a screenwriting class through Northwestern University. I think, having AP credits, dual credit classes, or taking courses at top colleges shows that you're able to handle the college level workload. One thing I think is very important is that leadership matters much more than quantity. It matters that you actually have a leadership role in your activities versus you doing 20 million clubs. It shows that you're able to have a tangible impact and you're not doing stuff just to do it. Having a leadership experience shows that you were actually showing up and you were doing something that was impactful. The Common App is going to be a section where you can list out your activities but also explain your involvement. Having a leadership role helped me to effectively explain what I was doing in the role and show my impact. Another thing that definitely helped me was spending a lot of time on my essay. I wanted to make sure that it was as strong as possible. So your personal statement, you need to spend a lot of time on that. I think when I was writing my personal statement, I was thinking about what's the most unique thing that I could say about me? What is something that occurred in my life that had the most impact on my life and, the most impact on my trajectory in life? What is something that I felt like the readers really had to know about me and could really speak to my character as an individual? And it's important to be honest. Don't be afraid to share something about yourself. Don't be afraid to share about something that had a lot of impact on you, because at the end of the day, this is your story and this is your truth, and this is a way to show colleges a different side of you. You want to be able to share your growth and your perspective on things. So I know I told you guys which schools I ended up getting into, but ultimately I have decided to attend Boston University. I am so excited. Drop in the comments if you want me to touch on anything more specifically, if you want me to touch on essays, activities, scholarships, choosing between colleges, and even how I'm going to prepare for my freshman year. Just drop a comment down below and I will be sure to put out a video. Thank you so much for watching this video and subscribe for more college content.